Hello everyone. This video will talking about the future of gaming. Here are the outlines we are going to cover in this video. The outlines are as below: the process, industry and mindset following these three trends. Independent game development, game interface design as a science, game design versus game interface design, and technological innovations. Independent video game development, or indie game development, is the video game development process of creating indie games. These are video games, commonly created by individual or small teams of video game developers and usually without significant financial support of a video game publisher or other outside source. These are the example of game that made by indie developer. Nowadays, games are unlike before. Understanding of player behavior is extremely important. In 2017, players spent over $100 billion on games, which is twice as much as the money spent on movies. The game designed and developed must be able to retain the player and improve their loyalty to the game. Today's game companies are collecting user data in their games. They record any single clicks, motion, decision and interaction done in the game, and perhaps cooperate with a data analysis company to study the player personality. Record any single click, every single interaction that players do in the game, study motivation, how humans react to challenges, by Africa Parianes, CEO of Yakazuna Data. These are the example of game interface design as a science. App figures at tracking tools to examine the impact of app updates on sales. Game analytics is used to collect data, analysis the preference, and track events of users. A game design is to create a great experience when playing a game. They therefore do as much as possible to make the game challenging. Often, we want the game to make the user think a lot explorable. We usually want the user to think there are always more possibilities and they're scalable, so that players learn better play as they play crazy juicy, so that players are captivated by spectacle, well beyond the needs of feedback from a user interface perspective inviting of error. We want players to learn through mistakes. And user interface design is to create a great experience when using something for a purpose. They therefore do as much as possible to make the interface transparent, so that the user needs to think as little as possible, affordant, so that the user knows what possibilities it offers, scalable, so that it unfolds as the user develops skills, feedback rich, so that the user knows when they did something constraining, so that the user can't do things that get them in trouble. User interface design is about removing problems from the user. Game design is about giving problems to the user, by Ralph Koster, author of A Theory of Fun Game Design. A technological innovation is a process whose technological characteristics are significantly different from before. Implemented technological product innovations are new products, product innovations, or processes in application, process innovations, that have been brought to market. Lord Mobile and Gods of Olympus are the kingdom-building game that provide players with zoom in and out of the battlefield to provide either highly tactical information on individual units or a broad strategic overview. Industrial mobile computers are using more advanced software, leading some hardware manufacturers to switch to capacitive touch screens. For example, Nintendo Switch and interactive touch displays. Projected controls are the technologies that convert any surface into a control. One of the example of projected controls is Magic Cube by Saloon, which is intended for mobile devices. It creates a laser projection keyboard which transforms any surface into a full-size keyboard. An area for using a virtual mouse is also projected. Another example is the Omni-Touch prototype, which turns any surface into a multi-touch interface. One approach that's being explored is for users to draw the interface's projection area and can function in many different environments. Speech recognition is the ability of a machine or program to identify words and phrases in spoken language and convert them to a machine-readable format. Mondly VR is the first VR language app with speech recognition. It contains a total of 33 languages and the most immersive way to learn a language without having to leave home. Speech synthesis is the conversion of text into audio speech. In Grand Theft Auto 4, the voice of the DJ for the journey, an in-game radio station, was created using Mac OS X text-to-speech synthesis. Gesture control is the ability to recognize and interpret movements of the human body in order to interact with and control a computer system without direct physical contact. For example, Wii Remote, PS Move, and Kinect, which are using cameras to detect the player's location and movement. Facial recognition is another immersive control technology with further potential in games. So, what is facial recognition? Facial recognition is a way of recognizing a human face through technology. An obvious application is for players' facial expressions to be mirrored by their characters, so it will increase the realism and entertainment value of interactions with others in a multiplayer game. For example, the PlayStation Vita is equipped with facial recognition technology known as face control. An obvious application of eye tracking is camera control based on where the player looks. It is creating a stronger sense that the player is actually present in the game world. Eye tracking is even applicable when a third-person camera is used, since the camera could still adjust with player characters turning their heads accordingly. Tobii Asteroids is the first arcade game to rely solely on eye tracking technology for input. Electroencephalography is the physiological method of choice to record the electrical activity generated by the brain via electrodes placed on the scalp surface. For example, Muse is a research-grade EEG device that passively senses your brain activity and translates it into the guiding sounds of weather to help you stay calm and focused. Moreover, MindWave Mobile 2 safely measures and outputs the EEG power spectrums, alpha waves, beta waves, etc., neurosky essence meters, attention and meditation, and eye blinks. Unconscious control is an application that used to measure user behavior and performance and adjust the game mechanism accordingly. An example of unconscious control would be speech recognition system that detected changes in player voice volume and tone and altered the feedback to the player according. In Mass Effect 3, the player gives different verbal commands to AI-controlled companions will respond differently. A customizable and adaptive user interface is a user interface that changes its design, controls, information and other elements according to the user needs. One user may see a completely different interface than another user. This is because adaptive user interfaces automatically change to create an optical experience for the user. All in all, we can foresee that independent game development will flourish in the near future. Game experience of the player will also take an important position in the game interface design, in order to develop a more attractive game. Lastly, various modern technologies will also implement to the games industry in the future.